Radiant team ban.
Earth Spirit.
Radiant team pick.
Game number 2 now between Leviathan and EnemyGG. EnemyGG, of course, up 1 game if you're just now joining us. And we're pretty deep into the draft as the teams are going damn quick in this first phase. I've got Blaze joining me. Blaze, the start of this draft, we have an Earth Spirit first pick, but one of the things you were talking about, lacking lockdown for EnemyGG, seemed to be a bit of a sticking point in game number 1, even if they did win it, and they got one of the heroes that you mentioned first, Doctor, but the Beastmaster, the favorite of
10 seconds
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting variance from the Witch Doctor ABBA opener, where essentially the Abaddon guarantees that your heroes are going to be able to go offensive, that they're going to be able to survive in the fights, but while you're taking away lockdown with the Aphotic Shield, you're not actually setting them up for it. And so that was a problem that BSJ found multiple times over. They kind of go for this variation, which creates so many opportunities. You can go for an Invoker as your second phase and go for Sunstrikes on top of this, very common. Just anything that kind of falls through, even like a Wisp strat could be really good here, since you're up against the Nature's Prophet too. So I would love to see like a Wisp Tiny for second phase EnemyGG. They have a lot enabled from this strategy, and of course they go back to the Witch Doctor, which they're very comfortable with.
I really like the fact that Beastmaster, I think one of my favorite attributes, that he's able to oftentimes punish lanes that lack
5 seconds
early pressure. So if you're running some sort of dual lane and you don't have very clear kill power there, Beastmaster can certainly punish you by getting really aggressive with getting potentially a lot of farm out of that offlane. But Leviathan do have that heavy amount of roaming pressure that we saw actually in an early NA series. Earth Spirit, obviously usually occupying the 4 position, roaming around the map, and with the off-lane Nature's Prophet, you're able to combo this up, so the mid lane's never going to be looking good for EnemyGG.
Yeah, and that's why I think the Wisp might be better than the Invoker. The Invoker is so gankable, so easy for them to lock down. They won't have too many difficulties kind of just riding him and running him over, and you'd have to put something like an Earthshaker behind him or something else that is very babysitting and just focuses on stacking and zoning and keeping your hero alive. So I think the Wisp Tiny brings a little bit more to the table here. I would actually say that if they're comfortable with that duo, that strategy, then something to implement here, because there's a lot of value in being able to have the global to counteract Nature's Prophet's global's presence. You're always going to have 2 heroes where he commits 1, and then Tiny is great at clearing out the creep waves really quickly, so you don't have to worry about the Furian's late game of the Aghanim's Octarine, and then just in general is able to push as quickly and take objectives as readily. So I think Wisp Tiny is the definite combo you want with a Beastmaster Witch Doctor, and I don't see too much of a drawback to it.
Leviathan banning away the Ursa as well as the Night Stalker. We saw the somewhat success of the Night Stalker from Sexy Bamboo in game number 1, where he's able to pick up that boots first and have a good impact around the map, and obviously the Ursa was a BSJ hero straight up. The Invoker is going to be the choice here for EnemyGG. And Leviathan don't have... They get, I think, the Lina is probably the best hero that they can get right now to go up against the Invoker and have both Earth Spirit and Nature's Prophet on your side.
Mm-hmm. And the beauty of the Lina, of course, is that you can follow through with the Rolling Boulder, Orb of Venom, guaranteed Light Strike Array, pretty much guaranteed kill. If the Earth Spirit's level 2, you have all the stuns you need to kill off an Invoker, unless there's a massive rotation to counteract it. So I love the idea of the Lina, very quick burst damage, and just the ability to follow through with the Earth Spirit ganks, which we can expect to see, as you mentioned.
Point in time, EnemyGG...
Disruptor!
What are you thinking about carries now that we have a bit of a change-up? Unlikely, I think, to see something like the Tiny Wisp. You have the Invoker as your...
I mean, you could safe lane the Invoker and then still do Wisp and then last pick CK or Tiny, but I think it's unlikely. So as you said, rotating in, you'll have a little bit more attack speed, potentially a lot more if you get the Alacrity buff, and you can rely on that pretty well. You're not going to have a hard laning phase because of Nature's Prophet, but they do have lockdown. So
Five
Slark is
seconds
not always
remaining.
like Slark is my go-to when I think of all those different things. The attack speed and an easy laning phase, you're able to do so much with a Slark. And I know BSGA really likes the hero, but I don't know. That Static Storm does make things a little bit more difficult. Of course, it makes it difficult for a lot of heroes. Anti-Mage, Morphling, all the same. So, Spectre maybe has some possibility here. Just some value across the board, extra tankiness, and then the ability to make every team fight work out in your favor. You start with a Roar, follow with a Haunt, but they're actually going to keep that hidden for now. They're just going to go for their other support, the Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of a Spectre here. Even more now with the Spirit Breaker. Yeah, as long as you know you're not gonna get punished in your safe lane, and that is a bit of a danger against a Nature's Prophet. I think Witch Doctor will be able to do good enough against him. That's
10 seconds
threatened.
remaining.
And the best thing about this would be that you have two different heroes to aggressively
5 seconds
force kills,
remaining.
and that's what the thing that Spectre desperately needs, to be able to have a team that is able to
Reserve
force
time.
scenarios where that Haunt come into play, and he can actually be a part of some early pickups and go from there.
As long as the Spirit Breaker is missing off the map, I feel like the Nature Prophet has to play it very safe, and might even just be jungling his hard camp by the Secret Shop.
Leviathan, mid or a carry here. We already talked about Lina as their mid. What do you think carry-wise for Leviathan?
That's a little tough. Obviously, the lockdown is becoming a big factor. BKB is not going to help you too much. So, like the Roar, the Nether Strike, still going to be controlling you very effectively. And so naturally, that lends you towards something that's extremely tanky or extremely mobile. The Ember Spirit seems okay just because of how quick you are at jumping in and out of the fights. You can use your remnants and your sleight of fist to stay on top of things here, but it doesn't really suit the rest of the draft is my biggest problem with that. So I would go tanky instead over mobility.
It's funny, Spectre wouldn't be terrible for their
Sure.
side either.
Sure.
Tanky hero, but the biggest thing being combo so well with
10
the
seconds
Prophet.
remaining.
I'm not sure if you want Disruptor as your support, though, if you're gonna... Oh, okay.
Radiant team ban.
Definitely makes it worth a pick or a ban here for EnemyGG. I'd say that much.
Yeah. Well, Spectre and Zeus combo so well with the Nature's Prophet because they reveal the enemy heroes, so that Force of Nature can bounce
10
to
seconds
all
remaining.
5 of them. But EnemyGG do have
5
the
seconds
pickup
remaining.
here first. They're actually going to be the ones
Dire
banning out the
team ban.
Spectre, so they have something else. Perhaps Clark, as you mentioned before.
Yeah, I think Slark could be really good. I mean, there is a decent bit of burst damage here, but there's still, like, you can dispel the
10
magnetize from the Earth
seconds
Spirit. You're able to just stay on target pretty effectively. I mean,
5
obviously, like, the
seconds
simple
remaining.
answer to a Juggernaut is still like a... Sorry, the answer to the Disruptor is still a Juggernaut, the
Radiant
Glimpse,
team
and you just
pick.
spin it. But I'm not 100% on that. Like, I feel like they can make a Juggernaut work very well, but... Oh, and they'll go with it. It's the easy pick. Like, it's like, okay, well, we have an answer to everything. That we're not going to have to worry about this spell, or this spell, because we've got a Juggernaut. And, well, it might not be, like, the highest potential pick. It definitely is going to be one that just enables their overall strategy and doesn't get too greedy. Because the more you dip into that, like, really late-game carry, the more your Invoker is going to be struggling on mid while you try to give him farm.
Yeah, I was with you on the Juggernaut, and I also thought about Lycan. The one downside about Lycan
10
being that I
seconds
think
remaining.
Disruptor's kinetic field is actually really annoying against him, but
5 seconds
other
remaining.
than that, I thought it would have been a pretty good pickup. Leviathan only have a few more seconds to go.
Reserve time. 5 seconds
Tanky
remaining.
heroes are there up there? Because I kind of like that. You get something like Raking, no, Phantom Lancer, okay.
So a bit of both worlds. He has some mobility, some escape tools that'll definitely help him out here. He's going to be really annoying when he gets to use the blade. There are a lot of heroes that are going to struggle against him. Witch Doctor's cast becomes less effective with all the illusions in play. It becomes harder to isolate him for a Beastmaster Spirit Breaker hit. A lot of more people are learning the little ability to like click on the Phantom Lancer and to keep focus on him and try to keep tabs on him whenever he's using the illusions. But I don't know, I almost think this forces the Invoker to go for a bit of Wex, like where you would normally see Exhort guaranteed with a Beastmaster or a Spirit Breaker to set it up. Like the Deafening Blast is huge here, and EMP is not bad either.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I guess I kind of like that idea.
5 seconds remaining.
Juggernaut goes for Battle Fury builds. You have Quaswex on the Invoker as well. That's decent control. Then again, you're sacrificing that amazing Spirit Breaker and Beastmaster setup for
exactly.
Sunstrike.
Yeah, that's the drawback. It's like there's so much guaranteed kill momentum just with like that's why I mentioned Evoker even as soon as phase 1. It's because when you have a Beastmaster on the field, every 60 seconds is a kill, and that's so much tempo that it's too good to pass up. He'll get the Wex later.
All right, so game number 2 between EnemyGG and Leviathan. Lane should be looking relatively normal here. Aggro dual lane-ish for EnemyGG. Flying Zebra is probably going to rotate around to the various lanes once you get to. Meanwhile, Leviathan, kind of similar scenario. It's going to be the Earth Spirit roaming around and offensive dual lane of Phantom Lancer and Destroyer. Got a lot of harassment damage coming out from that dual lane, but
30 seconds.
I'm just questioning how good they are gonna be against Beastmaster Spirit Breaker. Like level 1, level 2, where you kind of set the tempo of the lane, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if the Spirit Breaker kind of sticks around, as I expect Flying Zebra will just to get his level 2, then it's definitely possible they'll bully their way in. The one thing I'm looking at though is the Spirit Breaker doesn't really have any items to help facilitate that. He's gone for Bare Bones, Tango, and Clarity. He can pick up a Stout Shield still at the side shop because he does have that gold available. It's just right now he doesn't seem like he's in a contesting position. It looks like he wants to use the charge more to surprise people rather than to actually pressure the lane directly.
GB doing his little bouncing Mario jumps as he prepares for his mid lane matchup against Slayer's Invoker. Last time, Shibi was the one playing the Death Prophet against. Do as well.
Okay, they're already going to get a good start here. Newsham getting the Rolling Boulder Orb of Venom. That might just be the first blood right there, as it's such a good tempo starter getting out that damage. But of course, the Invoker will survive with 20% HP and loses the healing salve actually, so still a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Player still no levels of Quas, and he's going to be feeling that that early loss of his. Have to funnel himself some extra regen pretty damn fast. Meanwhile, Jenkins has the Nature's Prophet matched up against the Juggernaut and Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor is going to do what he can to push Jenkins back. Be BSJ farming decent. What really happens? Shim rotation into mid lane. Slayer's sitting relatively back.
Are they actually going to get this? Yeah, they're going to be getting a crit, but BSJ doesn't have the spin, so they're not going to be able to finish him off. I think the Blade Fury almost would have been enough damage, could have been enough damage since he has the quelling, but mid
Slayer,
instead.
Is he going to go down? It's not quite enough damage. He has so much from that magic wand. He turns around, throws out the Sunstrike, but he will go down, knowing that he didn't have a chance with Jenkins TPing in, so he tries to get some sort of counter kill. Doesn't really happen. All of Leviathan will survive. This is what we're talking about between the Earth Spirit and the Furion. There's so much roaming potential between the two of them. The mid lane is going to be tough, no matter what hero you're playing.
Very interesting decision for Banana Slam Jammer to go for the crit first, because it makes last hitting harder, because you don't have the guarantee factor on whether or not you're going to be putting a creep one hit from death or maybe letting another creep last hit it. And then he got a crit on the Furion, but I still think he would have done more damage with a level 1 Blade Fury. And if they had killed the Nature Prophet, not only getting the first blood, but potentially even preventing the Invoker from going down because the Furion couldn't TP in. I'm not sure.
GB was granted some room control. That's also really big in this matchup. Obviously, for the Zeus, he needs to be able to get constant refills on his bottle, and that's what two roaming heroes are going to be for as well. Obviously, not a hero to contest runes whatsoever, and EnemyGG don't really have a hero to do so unless it's Spirit Breaker up there in the top lane.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah, it seems like Zebra just doesn't want to kind of play that style. If he had the stout shield and went up top very early, maybe they could have gotten something done. But now he's been away from that lane for a little bit too long, and he'll counter roam. But Nusham's already taking the initiative. Ice Wall is not going to be enough for Slayer to get out, but the lack of mana also is hurting Chibi a little bit. Nusham is getting comboed on.
Yeah, he's going to be able to pop the Fairy Fire, but it's not going to stop the death from happening. That'll be Slayer picking up that kill, and the charge will be canceled out from the Spirit Breaker. That was simply, well, another one of those scenarios where you talk about the early levels of Lightning Bolts. If they're going so aggressively onto the Invoker, maybe that extra burst damage is better. But, yeah, obviously the biggest thing there, just lack of mana, and them still trying to force it anyway.
Exactly. He's been spamming Arc Lightning really hard just to try to set up the poking damage, but each shot of Arc Lightning is going to be giving a Magic Wand. So while that still can do over 85 damage to the Invoker mitigated, but then you got the 15 HP he gets back the other way.
His two-man kick there, Sexy Bambo is going to get help here from Nusham. Body blocked out by his own boar. The Sunstrike lands though. Sovereign's still going to go down in return, it looks like. 1-for-1 trade-off. He'll have this regen rune that can be picked up. Frozen's to get himself back up to full. Chibi got the bounty rune at bottom.
Alright, so at this point in time, I mean, it's even kill score for NME and Leviathan. I feel like NME are going to be able to build a greater kill advantage when we see their ultimates come online. Obviously, the Omni Slash and the Roar being the big ones. But this Beastmaster did go for Iron Talon. The Invoker is going to inevitably go for Hand of Midas. So these will kind of slow things down a little bit. Who do you think is actually going to be snowballing harder towards the mid game?
Like right now,
wow, that kick!
What a
oh
kick.
My god!
Jesus, he doesn't hit him with the rolling boulder. Unfortunately, that would have been great. Slowing Flying Zebra would have guaranteed the kill. They still get it, especially since he doesn't have enough mana to be able to charge out. Himself in the trees.
Oh
my
jukes.
god, did this juke work? He pops himself out now. Nusham, another rolling boulder. That one whiffs as well. Flying Zebra is just buying himself time though. Eventually, he will go down.
But yeah, back to the fact that like the Roar ultimates, the Omni Slash, they'll get some kills here and there, but they're still going to be, you know, Iron Talon jointly. They're still going to be Midasing. They're still going to be kind of playing for the later stages. Do you feel that Enemy can actually take control of the map, or is Leviathan's lineup better in that capacity?
No, I think despite the way the laning phase is going, I think EnemyGG are going to hit that big point where you're talking about the 60 seconds. And all the tempo that is there from the Beastmaster and Invoker. I think that's enough to be able to snowball a little bit more heavily towards the mid game, and it's going to be Leviathan perhaps playing more of that, you know, just get that Phantom Lancer to his you know, big status later on into the game.
Chibi is having a lot of mana issues here. It looks like he's going to go Arcanes and forgo the possible Soul Ring, and that can be fine, especially with the two mangoes to back him up. But just I feel like in this position, like he's not actually able to directly contest the Invoker, and you can see the last hit difference. Already 5 surplus for the Invoker, despite him getting pressured on a lot harder by the Earth Spirit.
Sure why Chibi isn't popping one of these mangoes for a last hit. That way he can secure himself Arcane Rune. Nice pick up there. The Glimpse send back is not enough to send the or save the Disruptor rather. He gets hit by yet another Sunstrike. The Rolling Boulder coming out in the bottom lane. BSJ does have an Omni Slash, but obviously he's got no real good opportunity to use it here. Kicked up. BSJ is trying to get Nusham low enough that an Omni Slash might be able to finish him off. Good body blocking there with the Treants, but BSJ does get one step ahead of Jenkins and might not be able to survive, actually. The Rolling Boulder coming in. They have the spin. He gets a little bit of healing self-damage. Nusham battling it out for his life. Will be able to win it. And now they have the charge coming out, but Jenkins already going to TP out the Sunstrike. No! Oh my God. Doesn't get there in time, and they get out with a huge kill on the Juggernaut. That is big for Leviathan.
That's to say, we're going to see a TP up top here. Beastmaster is almost dead to rights already. Really good damage coming out from the Phantom Lancer. But talking about the fight that happened bottom, the Zeus was able to help out in 2 major ways. The obvious one was the Thunder God's Wrath damage and vision, but even more importantly was the fact that Spirit Breaker was charging bottom right through Zeus's lane. He lightning bolts him, and whilst there is the TP back from Flying Zebra, he doesn't get killed by the Zeus. He does and get the contribution to bottom lane where he could have saved the Juggernaut. So BSJ going down a massive kill that'll give this PL that much more. The PL gets an assist while the Juggernaut gets a death. That's a Battle Fury timer that is significantly delayed.
A Minaroon, both Nusham and Shibi are going to try and secure bottom. Refill on that bottle for the suit, and what do you know? It's a regeneration. Best one you could possibly get.
Well, there go your mana problems.
Absolutely. Still waiting on another Sunstrike kill. Sovereign is so close to his level 6. Gonna try and pick it up now underneath the tier 1 tower. There's so many Phantom Lancer illusions, though. He keeps careful playing too far forward. He has the ultimate now. He may be able to pop it off on somebody soon, but no, doesn't have anything, and there's no rotations whatsoever from EnemyGG possible.
Okay, I gotta say that the juxtaposed proc rate is pretty insane from Peru Swag. Like every time, it seems like he's able to max out his illusion count within just a matter of seconds. But at the same time, this is the second time Beastmaster has tried to fight up against it. It's clearly not working, and he's got this kind of like pseudo jungle build. He's not really supposed to be heavily contesting the lane, but of course, with the tier 2 tower now being pressured, it's everybody's responsibility to get involved.
Ice wall on top, but Peru's still going to go for that tower. He actually pops the doppelganger at the right time, but he's still slowed down by the ice wall. They're going to turn and fight Slayer, and Slayer's definitely going to go down here with the help of the Zeus ultimate as well. Frozen's going to be forced back, and they might be able to get that kill as well. In fact, they do. Jenkins picks it up. Jenkins is just destroying this game. 6-0-3. This is having an amazing game.
Absolutely. It's just an incredible game from Leviathan overall. Like, they are playing so smooth. The glimpses, the TPs cancels, and the charge cancels they've done in 2 or 3 different occasions. It just feels like enemy can't get who they need to be in the fight there, and Leviathan are continuing to exploit that. Now, it's not only the top lane that's been demolished, but with those 2 towers down, they turn their attention towards mid, which is going down just as rapidly. The glimpse coming back off cooldown should be enough to save Jenkins here, as Flying Zebras will be just glimpsed back.
You know, this is, I'm looking at this game, and I feel like this is, the performances between Game 1 and Game 2 are, there's such a big contrast for EnemyGG.
Definitely.
Like Slayer, who played it, like, so carefully as that Zeus against the Death Prophet, and the Night Stalker as well. Like, he played it beautifully, where he was sitting back at the right time. He played it really passive, when he needed to. Nusham will be able to get out with that team. But this time around, with the same kind of pressure essentially being put on him, he ends up getting caught out multiple times by the Earth Spirit and the Nature's Prophet. You have Sovereign, who did an amazing job as his offlane Abaddon, this time just getting destroyed as the offlane. These laning phase performances alone are causing EnemyGG to pretty rapidly fall behind.
And I'm not sure if it's less comfort playing against heroes like Earth Spirit. It's still the meta hero, so you have to kind of get used to it, especially since the slap on the wrist that he got in the most recent E patch is probably the most he's going to get for a while. I don't know. It's just I feel like in this position they're definitely not playing confidently. Leviathan are taking their play to a next level at the same time, and it's just making things a lot harder for enemy. But one thing that you did mention was like player was playing really passively, but you said there was a couple times where like he actually tried to fight into Spirit Siphon, and the couple times that they tried to kill off the DP and then they got turned on 2v2. I still feel like that some of that has been evident in both games, but not this significantly. Invoker is really getting pressured and not responding to it appropriately.
The stun already comes out on a Slayer. They have to follow up. They will be able to catch the Invoker, and that is big with the Zeus ultimate as well. They'll be able to clean up 2 quite quickly, and Frozen's going to go down as well. There just is nothing coming out from EnemyGG as they somehow manage to get that kind of quick initiation and no real response. In fact, Flying Zebra's going to go down as well. He's got 5 HP. He's got nowhere to run to. Oh no, the tree has died at the perfect time, but still, Sexy Bambo will grab the double kill. 3-13, Leviathan are steamrolling through EnemyGG.
Yeah, they're going to be taking yet another tower. This is going to be a 3-tower advantage. 12 minutes, along with a 10-kill advantage. Like, there's so many statistics that'll point towards a very clear victory for Leviathan. It's not over yet, as we know there are still kill potential, and with that there's the comeback gold. But right now, this is just when enemy are really weak. The Midas factor The fact that the Juggernaut's going for the Battle Fury after Treads, which, don't get me wrong, it's not bad at all, it's just a limitation. It's really making it difficult for Enemy to do anything. And you look at the supports. Witch Doctor doesn't have level 6, the Spirit Breaker doesn't have Urn of Shadows or level 6, while the Earth Spirit just picked a fail. Like, it's just black and white, night and day. Leviathan are just getting so much done with every one of their heroes.
Looks like they're going to get an Aegis into their hands as well as they're chipping away at Roshan, and NMEGG do not seem real fond of trying to contest that one, nor should they really. So Leviathan will be able to get an Aegis for the Phantom Lancer and finish up a Diffusal Blade really quickly.
Yeah, and that's something that I don't know if Enemy has a really good answer for. The Diffusal Blade is going to be really strong, just isolating a target. The mana burn's going to be good against most of these heroes, either the strength heroes that are low mana or the intelligence ones that are just extremely dependent on it. And one thing you never really get to point out, but there are no arcane boots on Enemy, so they don't have a way to replenish that once they go down. Magic Wand is all they've got. The Zeus will be filling that up pretty effectively, but even then, it will often not be enough.
Flying Zebra gets the charge on his Sexy Bambo. Sunstrike to follow it up there. Oh, not going to be able to pop Sexy Bambo. Gets off Static Storm, doesn't do too much, but maybe get some damage on a Flying Zebra. That's going to be 1, 2, and the other 2 do escape, but all that for a Disruptor, obviously not worth it for Enemy.
Yeah, it's just they're going for the tactics that would have worked like 6 minutes ago if they had already gotten the Invoker higher exhort levels and all these other factors. They're kind of playing in the past mentality where it's like, okay, they just took Roshan. Leviathan are definitely going to be able to TP and respond, and this trade turns out to be a very bad commitment. So just across the board, Leviathan racking up the kills, and I don't see them stopping. They're going to go bottom for now, and as they get 1 or 2 more items, they're going to progress towards the inevitable tier 3s.
What does Jenkins get, by the way, in this kind of game?
Radiant's bottom tower is
I mean,
attack.
Necro still sounds pretty... Dezo, actually. Dezo would probably be the ideal.
As TPC, EnemyGG will not be able to get a deny on that tower. They should be able to get a pick off. Jenkins will not be able to TP out in time and should be going down here. Peru's still going to try and fight it out as he's got the Diffusal Blade. He's doing a lot of damage to Slayer, but there's still a lot of AoE damage. The rest of the team, it might be able to come in and help him out, though. So Peru will lose his Aegis now. The question is whether or not EnemyGG can get a hold of this battlefield. He got Sexy Bambo being able to stop that Death Ward. Peru's now battling it out with BSJ, who's by himself, and actually is going to be going down here. He's got no ability to be able to fight against this. He knows it too. He's just buying out his Battle Fury items as quick as possible. Shibi will grab the double kill. 6-18 as Leviathan win another fight.
Yeah, but I still think the kill gold is probably going to be worth it. Like, look at that, actually. We're going to see the gold is just slightly favoring the side of Enemy, and then experience will be favoring Leviathan by the 700 count, since they did have the kill advantage. But we're actually going to be seeing Jiggets go for the Orchid, which I think is even better than the Dezo. Like, there's so many heroes that are shut down by it, and mostly the Juggernaut. That's the big one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Damn smart pickup. Sexy Bambo. She's frozen here. Right in front of a tier 3. Spirit Breaker's going to complete his charge, it looks like, while the bottom push is going on. Sexy Bambo is going to drop low to that urn. Will be able to get off a good kinetic field. Static Storm looks like Flying Zebra is going to die for his kill, but maybe just a little bit more. No, it's actually not going to be enough. The Healing Ward keeps him alive. They get the Fury on as well as Leviathan. That's just them being a bit too greedy. Oh, they got Spirit Breaker anyway. Shibi popped the ultimate. They got that tier 2 at bottom lane. But I think Leviathan were unnecessarily aggressive and greedy going for a pickoff like that at the top.
Yeah, they still have to show some restraint. They've got a lot of momentum, and this is what they need in this game against the kind of greedy builds of Enemy. But I still feel like the kill gold is what they have to keep track of. They have to protect their advantage. They have to take their lessons that every pro team learned from 6.83 and really put into practice, that there's no value in even trading equally. They have to make sure that every fight is just no contest in their favor. They've got the jump potential. They've got so much pickoff potential with like the Orchid, Furion, as well as the Glimpse. It's just going to be coming down to continuing to get map pressure, get better wards up from the Radiant jungle. But Charge will not make it in time, fortunately for Jenkins. We'll be back on the map shortly. But yeah, I think better Dire wards would be really good for Leviathan, just to get more aggressive potential, and then one kill will snowball.
Oh, the turnaround. Jenkins comes in. Slayer will be able to TP out, but still. Invoker kind of centering himself up, figuring out whether or not he can get damage onto Peru or farm the lane or anything, but Furion's there with that Orchid. I'm out pretty quick. Enemy are going to respond, though, with a 4-man smoke on the other side of the map, pushing out, but you can see Shibi seems to already kind of read this. He's been sitting in the jungle for a little while now. Sexy Bambo's Invis does manage to pop the smoke, and EnemyGG start throwing down some counter wards, but they won't find anything for it.
So obviously the ideal here for the Nature Prophet will be to gank when the Earth Spirit and the Disruptor are around. TPs won't be a factor really then. And the big thing that they can do to continue to kind of cement their advantage, build their momentum up top, BSJ just pops the fin, so he's okay. But yeah, I'm looking at Bambo's gold, and I'm like, okay, well, if he gets a Blink Dagger, their range of initiation is just an entire quadrant of the map. Like, they have so much potential to just completely suppress Leviathan enemy. From there, all they need is maybe a Gem of True Sight, throw that on the Earth Spirit, and just continue to control all the sources of farm.
Yeah, they will pretty much never have any good counterplay against a Glimpse. It's not like Beastmaster or our Invoker are going to be picking up BKB anytime soon, so 4 out of 5 of the members are going to be completely exposed to a Glimpse pickoff. 4-man smoke here from EnemyGG once again as they do head up to the top lane, but they need to help out their Invoker, who's going to be gone on by at least 3. That's an easy kill there. The charge on through is going to lead with Nusham. They're going to be able to pop him back. They have the Death Ward sitting on the side. It looks like they'll be able to take out 1 for 1. Jenkins is going to be next as he's dealing with the Necronomicons, feasting him apart. But now the TP is away from EnemyGG are going to be canceled. They get the Glimpse. Zeus comes in. Now we have the Phantom Lancer coming in as well, as he wants to be able to catch Frozen. Doesn't quite get there in time.
But, that was awkward. He like doppelgangers here, gets a random spawn over here, is not able to get the reach over the Witch Doctor. Saw the Spiritbreaker, thought he could do something about that. Just none of it really connecting the way it was supposed to. So that was really odd. We're going to see the jump back from the Disruptor and immediately just spin TP coming up from BSJ, barely getting in time before the Glimpse ends. But still a lot of money going for Enemy there as they're able to respond to the death of the Invoker with the smoke, but only 1 smoke left.
Yeah, that feels like I don't know, not great for Enemy, right? They trade 2 for 2.
Yeah, they wanted the smoke to do a lot more. Their only way to move, like I was saying, since the 4 out of 5 members are susceptible to Glimpse, their only way to move is as 4 or 5 heroes. They can't just go solo and farm. They have to move together, they have to move as a team, and that makes smokes pretty much their lifeline. And with only 1 smoke remaining, trading evenly, it'll technically give them the win, but it's not going to be putting them back into this game.
Roshan is going to be coming up soon. Sexy Bambo can start laying out some better vision for it as well. See whether or not he gets this reward. Meantime, Peru, he's pushing out the bottom lane. He's got himself Diffusal, a Yasha, and what 2? I must be a little tired here because I'm not coming.
Illusion.
Well, that's
Lincoln's.
Yeah. I mean, that seems the reasonable one, just against Aurora and everything, so... Yeah, he'll pick that up as his next item here. I'm surprised he gets it before the Manta. I usually would expect the Manta and then the Lincoln Spear after. That's the only weird thing about it, but... Right now, it's got plus 10 damage as they look to pressure bottom lane.
ESJ, gonna have to be careful. In time, he could be silenced up by Nusham, especially with the Ether Lens, extra range. So it's really dangerous for him to be on the front line.
Oh, they have to watch their TPs here too. Spiritbreaker's actually just going to charge back in, because otherwise the Glimpse would be a very scary factor. Oh, Peel's pretty far in.
Dire's middle tower
Bounce goes
is
out,
under
but
attack.
BSJ has already got his spin going. He's going to try and get 60 Bamboo. The charge is really good. It bumps back 3. They take out 60 Bamboo, but they've got the BSJ in return. Nusham, who's been pushed over by the Deafening Blast, is going to be taken out by the Death Wars. And now, a Sunstrike right on the mark from Slayer. Takes out the Phantom Lancer. Shibi's going to try and get out, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to make it. Oh, the Tornado! It
Wow,
gets him in
2x
time. That
Tornado
was-
barely
oh
makes
my
it, but he
God.
still gets a kill in return.
Yeah, he takes out the Witch Doctor, but well worth it for EnemyGG as they make themselves. I mean, that was the fight they desperately needed. That is over a 3,000 gold swing and a 3,000 experience swing as well for a defense like that.
Yeah, and I'm really impressed with how they were able to execute that. They were able to get so much damage out of the Invoker, and really everybody was able to contribute in a big way to that fight. But I am really surprised Leviathan just didn't go for Aegis. Got the control of the map. There's no way Enemy can get to the pit easily. You've got like a Blink Dagger on Disruptor. If he just drops one Observer Ward in a certain choke point, he should be able to break any smoke and blink out. But I feel like the rush was definitely the play, and again, Leviathan not protecting their advantage and giving up a lot in return.
EnemyGG, bad positioning there from their Spirit Breaker as he was charging forward and caught out by the Earth Spirit. Taken out, this will free up Roshan for Leviathan. It's kind of like just that one play alone from one player kind of Leviathan back into that. You know, we're gonna threaten your later racks now.
Oh yeah, I honestly don't even know if the map position even changed. It just comes down to the fact that Enemy will have more answers. They will have more items to play around it and to fight around it. With having the BKB progression for the Invoker, you're actually got a lot going for you. You have not only the Aghanim Scepter, which is a great tool for enhancing your spell set, putting out massive meteor deafening, but also the ability to just drop have the BKB, have an answer to the Disruptor. Like, that's so important, and it's going to be coming out very soon for Slayer.
Do you think that if the Spirit Breaker doesn't die in that mid lane, gets caught, do you think that they would have contested Roshan?
I mean, they do have 2 smokes, so they have the wherewithal, but I'm not sure if they have the confidence. Like, obviously, like I said, a Disruptor, putting down an Observer Ward, like even the Dire one they have right in the Northern Radiant jungle, that's perfectly fine for the Disruptor to sit next to. He sees the smoke break from either steps, and then he's able to just Kinetic Field blink back, and he's going to be safe with his allies, and they're going to be able to control that pit and position. I just feel like it's such a hard confrontation unless you are able to kind of like already be there. It's kind of weird to get pit fight itself is equal in my mind. But the problem is Enemy's actual movement to get to the pit without getting just caught in a real muck of things, sprouts and kinetic fields and the Zeus damage. It's just, I don't know. I feel like Leviathan had the better control in that capacity.
Yeah, part of it for me was that EnemyGG are really close to certain item pickups that it may not be the worth the risk of going to a Roshan fight, because they've got this BKB, which now complete for Slayer, but they would have gone in without it. And then on top of that, you've just got a Juggernaut with Battle Fury. Like, it feels like fighting around the Roshan pit, which would speed up the game one way or the other, it would speed it up, isn't necessarily what you want when got this Juggernaut Battle Fury. The longer the game draws out, he'll get benefit out of that farming.
I would definitely agree. I mean, I feel like in general, it's just like I said, the game is going to be figuring itself out very quickly here because of the stages. It's going to be expediting things, but because Enemy have more high ground defense than they did before, because they're farming quickly with the time and the space that they do have, I would say that they're going to maybe be able to defend one more. If they could defend another high ground push, get the gold off of that, then this game, not necessarily even, but much back to where we started back like 10 minutes into the game. So I would have to say then, obviously, the Phantom Lancer falls back on his Lincoln, starts split pushing, and then with the Nature's Prophet's help, he's going to go for Aghanims, and they're going to just kind of go from there. Like, it changes how Leviathan have to play if this high ground plays out. And there's the two things. If you can test the Roche, maybe you delay that confident siege where Leviathan have the guaranteed Aegis. But you're also not farming that BKB. You're also risking taking a fight at all with an Invoker without a BKB. Like, you're up against all this magic damage, the Disruptor, and then the Orchid Silence. If you don't have a BKB and Disruptor, I feel like you don't or on the Invoker, then I just don't feel like you can contribute in the same capacity. So, yeah, I feel like risk reward, Leviathan will get that Roshan either way.
All right. Waiting for... Don't go showcase you. It will crash. All right. That's good stuff, but it doesn't affect me though. Witch
Caster
Doctor
privilege.
is decked out, man.
Frog, man.
The frog. He's got the voodoo hat. He's got the monkey, the snake.
Yeah, that's why they're first picking or Witch Doctor every game. It's just because he's got the bling.
Yeah. All they need is the snake that goes on his back as well. The Animal Kingdom. All right, so back into the game we go. 25 minutes in. It's a 5K lead for Leviathan, 5K experience as well, but that has been grinded down a bit over the last minutes or so. NMEGG have, I mean, going into mid game, they definitely look like a better team than they did for the.
Yeah, it's just they need the one big fight. They need a fight like what we saw down bottom previously. Do you actually feel like the Aegis and the Phantom Lancer changes much? Because obviously it can help a lot, but I'm not sure in like majority of fights if it actually makes that much of a difference.
Gold for me.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with you. Just because it's very likely that PL is going to be one of the last ones down.
Damage.
So he comes back up and he has no support. He's probably just going to...
I guess you just go YOLO, put on the full Peru swag 420 style, and just go in hard on somebody. I mean, there's not really much reason not to. There are some kind of long-range poke, but Invoker for the most part wants to keep his spells close. Even though he has the short Invoke cooldown, it's only 4 seconds. The bigger spells that you're afraid of, he's gonna wait until the big fight.
Pushing out top lane pretty aggressively. BSJ is actually sitting himself on the side here, waiting for someone to defend and perhaps get a quick pick off that could really stall up Leviathan entirely as they go for their push. DD for Peru.
Oh, that Sexy Bambo really wanted a glimpse, and now they're going to waste a minute resetting everything. Sexy Bambo wanted to go back, wait for somebody to push high ground, and then when they try to TP back somewhere around here, he blinks glimpse them. But that opportunity does not present itself, and suddenly they're walking up to a base 4v5. So it is actually, unfortunately, Leviathan that will delay part of their Aegis here.
Big upgrade for Leviathan is coming in, but it may not be as big as it normally is. Aghanim's upgrade for Nature's Prophet means that there's actually going to be potentially more farm for the Juggernaut on board with that Battle Fury.
Yeah, the big thing is though is only BSJ that can conveniently clear that stuff. Like obviously you can meter it, but other than that, Cask, the whirling axes, wild axes are not going to be sufficient. So I would say that it's still a good fallback plan for them to be able to start splitting the map whenever, let's say Leviathan get wiped out and suddenly base pressure's going their way. If you drop that ultimate, you're getting all these lanes pushed out and enemy might be taking tier 3 damage. They're not going to be able to go for the objective they want. So it denies enemy for following up on a successful fight, and it, like I said, it just in general gives you more map control and more of a better sense of what's going on. So I like the Ag Scepter, even though obviously BSJ has the wherewithal and the ability to deal with it.
Game's stalling out a little bit. There's still the fact that they've got Phantom Lancer that feels pretty favorable for Leviathan late game, but if you look at this game, perhaps 35 to 45 minutes, do you still favor Leviathan?
It gets hard then, because obviously you have to look at the Butterfly versus MKB factor. I think Juggernaut's much more likely to benefit from the MKB than the Phantom Lancer, and we'll just kind of see those items trade off, where I don't even know, maybe the PL just goes for Scotty after he finishes his Lincoln's Manta and just builds up hard stats and doesn't even go for the Butterfly when he knows the Juggernaut's going to have the answer. It's kind of, it's in a weird spot between the two. They have an interesting late game dynamic where one definitely can beat out the other, especially with comrades. Like with the Aghanim's Witch Doctor, sure, the Juggernaut can win out because he's got a good team at his back, but it really comes down to itemization and also initiation.
BSJ picking up a haste rune is a long route, and we got the extra movement seed. And find somebody here. Chibi does throw out the ultimate, and that will be the end of things. EnemyGG, another smoke that is kind of failed for them.
Yeah, I'm not as they're dependent on it as I was before. Before it seemed like, okay, well, if you can't move its 5, you're screwed. But now they have the BKB on the Invoker, even the BKB on the Juggernaut helps a little bit in the split pushing sense, and I just feel like they have more options on moving the map a little bit. So while smoke is still very important, it's not like fundamentally necessary for them to get anything done in the game.
Does BSJ turn this into a mantle? That Yasha that he's had for a while?
I mean, there's some value in it, but I wouldn't. BSJ actually going to be taking a lot of damage. Oh my gosh, he just goes down straight. Okay.
Great setup there for Nusham. Obviously, he had the invis, but the quick stun and then the Veil of Discord with the Zeus. Screamed that for Juggernaut could already see the importance of initiation there.
Yeah. So I feel like with the Manta style, yeah, you get the illusions to kind of poke at some barracks or whatever, but for the most part, unless you're really afraid of going out and farming against Nature's Private Treants, oh, actually Roar Bambo.
They immediately pop Sexy Bambo. The charge is going to be canceled out. Frozen is going to go down. There's a very awkward engagement there from EnemyGG, who kind of were approaching from behind, and then we had some TP back. Now, Elena Rax is going to be going down. Witch Doctor buys back, but there is no buyback on the Juggernaut. Meteor actually does a lot of damage there. Peru just runs alongside of it. Sunstrike will not land. Charge is going to come on through. It actually hits Shibi at the perfect time. Turns around, pops the ultimate. Will pop Shibi back. He wants to be able to set up his allies to target him first. Slayer's going forward with his BKB. Peru is down to half health, but Casket is going to go around, blocked out by the Lincolns, it looks like. The Death Ward immediately stopped. Nice 3-man stun in combination. Shibi turns it around with the ultimate as well. Slayer's going to go down, and this could be the end soon for EnemyGG if they lose this fight too badly. Nusham in deep is going to try and get out, blocked out unfortunately, and he'll be going down to Banana Slam Jamma, and Yule Scepter is not going to be enough. BSJ now popping his BKB, knows he can maybe get some more here. Pops the Omni Slash, goes around. Jenkins going to be the first to go down. Peru gets over, but he blinks ahead too. He needs to be able to get some max damage out. They get a little bit more AoE, but Peru, he's getting away. BSJ, you can't let him get out like this. Slowed down by the Purge. Peru is now just taunting BSJ, knowing that he's out of reach at all hands, and BSJ is surrounded by all 4. Leviathan strike beautifully in the bottom lane, and will push to force even more out of EnemyGG.
That blanket from Sovereign cost him so dearly. They are able to buy back heavily, punish it aggressively. They've got trees pushing in at all angles, mid and top as well, but the bottom racks are their key target and should be going down quickly. They've got 7 seconds before the Invoker, and there's nothing to stop even this low HP PL during that time period. They get the Silence on Spirit Breaker, they don't get a Sprout, and it's going to be Sovereign to Roar.
They've got Peru, though, with that stun out from the Beastmaster. That should be enough. 60 Bambo's going to go down to the side. They got the melee racks, so they need desperately to be able to get more kills on the side of EnemyGG. They get 3, that's good. But it's not going to undo all that base damage that was just done on EnemyGG, and a lot of economy damage as well with those that many buybacks.
Absolutely. I mean, the buybacks across the board were pretty heavily. We actually see 3 heroes on cooldown for enemy and only 1, the Nature's Prophet from Leviathan. So they just had to commit less. They got more across the board, and really enemy just have to find something big very shortly. If they are going to be again back in this, oh wow, the Zeus is just willing to play around with the Juggernaut a little bit. Often that's a favorable situation, but Shibi's pretty confident that he knows what BSJ has behind him right now. No Spirit Breakers lurking in the shadows, but no, honestly, like a lot of that fight comes down to Nusham, the ability for him to just get so many great initiations and counter initiations off, brilliant boulder smashes coming out, and actually might be able to set that up on Slayer. Slayer pops the BKB though, and that's going to be one more hit to kill the Disruptor. No, Bambo stays in the trees and stays alive.
Fortunately, Slayer couldn't really commit past that. They do have the Forge Spirit still there, but Bambo, Wolf out, needs some help. Allies, where's the Poor Staff? Doppelganger doesn't break through the trees, but the stone will. Bambo heads back to base. EnemyGG are getting some decent map control after that fight, where they got a couple of kills, pushing out many of the lanes. The problem's going to be that the Furion is always going to get better map control, no matter how much they spread out. That Wrath of Nature with the Axe upgrade goes to work.
And that gives them time and space to take down Roshan. Like, if you're always addressing the lanes, how are you going to be able to go and contest this objective? The Juggernaut's nowhere near it for sure. If he TP'd back to base, he still wouldn't be even close. So they just go ahead, and even though it's going to be slow, they've got no negative armor, but they're going to take it down nevertheless, and it's just something the enemy can't really commit to. With the 3 buybacks down, with the Juggernaut across the map, it would be suicidal. Like, even if it's a good fight, just losing those heroes permanently as diebacks is just too much.
Oh my god, Peru's down to 50 HP, he gets the Aegis. The charge is going to be completed here from Flying Zebra. He's got the BKB. If he can actually get Peru, that would be great, but he's not going to be able to stop it just yet. Still though, Peru's up on the top, and he's not going to be able to have any impact in this fight, it seems, as the BKB finally wears out. Nusham is almost dead, at least he's very much out of mana, and Necronomicon going to work there. The push back there, Slayer dropped the Meteor on top of Jenkins. Shibi's on top here as well. He's actually kind of stuck. Slayer's going to go in. Do they have any disables to stop these TPs out? Where are they? They get one. Aaron goes down, but the Zeus complete TP, and now Peru will be able to get away. Slayer, he wants to be able to hunt him though. He's got a Blink Dagger. The MP goes out. Peru, he can't afford to be losing his life so far outside of the base. They need a little bit more damage, but now the team is a bit separated with the Glimpse sent back, and the kinetic field has finally got him with a Sunstrike. If they can actually control him up here, he's got an Omni Slash. Peru has to turn and fight. Static Storm gets laid out, but they already have the spin out from BSJ in time. A jump forward here, but BSJ might actually be able to Omni Slash now that the Doppelganger is down. There goes, the slash goes away. Peru, he's going to be going down inside of this one. Shibi couldn't get any damage out, and now he's in trouble as well. The Eel Scepter goes forward, and Leviathan, could this game be thrown? EnemyGG have just won a huge fight against Leviathan on their side of the base. They won't be able to get immediate map control. No objectives taken, but still a gigantic win, as that was around a 4K gold exchange with the fight itself, not to mention all the map control they're going to be able to get.
That was absolutely massive. It was just a chain of small things that kept on adding up against Leviathan. They triggered the slam of Roshan. Like 3 bashes came out in a row against the PL, dropped him down to 50 HP. He has the panic doppelganger to the high ground, and by being stuck on the high ground, Leviathan have to take a bad fight. Rather than just disengaging and maybe sacrificing one guy, it just turns into this chain of events that gives enemy more and more momentum to the point where they kill off the PL twice. And, well, yeah, they don't have the creeps. They don't even have the tier 2s down to really get anything done in terms of killing off structures. They absolutely did that fight. They got the cheese, the Aegis, everything.
It's so good. It's so annoying for the Furion. Mid lane immediately starts pushing out once again from Treants. They get laid out. Bottom lane from the Ags. Force Nature. It's a couple there. Still though, the Manta pushes from BSJ are actually going to be really nice. He has illusions in mid because he got an illusion room. Now he's Manta pushing out top. The question is, can EnemyGG force a fight on Leviathan's side of the map again?
And it's going to be a tough question. I mean, the Nature Prophet is going to be constantly pushing the lanes out the other way, so I'm not even sure if they're going to be able to keep the Creequilibrium controlled enough to get that opportunity. We're going to see Zeus scout things out as well. So it's like whenever they aren't sure enough about where enemy are on the map for the possibility of a smoke, then they just pop the Zeus ulti, and that gets them the information. From there, the creeps keep pushing in. Yes, it does feed a little bit of gold the other way, but for the most part, it's going to be more valuable than anything. Okay, and yeah, it's going to be like a Shadow Blade initiation or something, a surprise attack that will catch off Leviathan while the Zeus ulti is down.
BSJ, his next item probably MK.
It depends on what he sees on the PL. It's kind of like this mind game where it's like, okay, well, I'll buy MKB if you buy Butterfly, but because you know that you're probably not buying Butterfly, but Shibi actually getting hit on really hard here. The Shadow Blade initiation seems to have succeeded on this front, and that's gonna force Leviathan into a corner where they go ahead. They of course use the Wrath of Nature cheese that cooldown with the Arcane Rune, but they have to otherwise stay off the map and stay safe.
Great pick off there.
Yeah, I don't. It looks like right now neither will go MKB or Butterfly. We're gonna see the Heart on the PL. That's gonna be occupying his inventory for quite some time, and then he's got to go for Manta next, right? The PL is so dependent on getting those guaranteed illusion spawns. Yes, he's gotten a little bit lucky with his ultimate, the juxtaposed procs, but you still need the Manta, I think.
Slayer. Damage out on Peru. Will blink himself backwards, but he doesn't realize that Nusham actually made the rotation around, and Slayer may be picked off here. He still has a BKB. Ghost Walk away, and will be good because of that.
And that Hex, like a lot of Nature Prophet would just kind of go for the cookie cutter build, go Octarine after the Agadems. It's just say, hey, more creeps, more momentum, more push. But no, the Hex is such a big pickup because of all these BKBs that were forced. Now 3 BKBs, the Beastmaster, the Juggernaut, the Invoker. And the Hex is the answer just because you can get it off beforehand.
This
and the
weird
Spirit Breaker
split
too.
pushing game is
Dire's
the courier.
killed.
Decent pickup. Peru just got his heart.
I mean,
Gold-wise, EnemyGG is finally favored here after the whole entire game. Leviathan was in control, even from the
Slayer without a BKB though.
Yeah, that is real bad. Positioning at bottom lane was fine when he had the BKB, but couldn't afford to do that again until the BKB was off cooldown.
It's the next level bait, man. Now he's gonna force them to dive into the base when he's got the buyback, and then they all turn it around. Now I'm honestly not sure how Leviathan choose to play around this. Right now it's the heavy push top. They'll force Juggernaut TP back, but with PL with no BOTs, where he normally would absolutely have BOTs at this point in the game, it might just be nothing. Like, it's great to pick out the Invoker, but it stalls him a little bit. He doesn't get to use his Midas again, but it still turns out to be Leviathan that don't get to turn it into like anything more real, tangible.
Alright, well, charge out on Shibi. They're just getting some vision of where Leviathan are going. He's not going to make a committal or anything like that. So they know there are several heroes around that bottom lane. They're kind of free to push out mid and top for the time being. Needed Mjolnir for the Juggernaut at this point.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I mean, you're
Dire's middle
up against the
tower
Nature
is
Prophet
under
and a
attack.
PL, so if you're able to just be super efficient about this AoE aspect, then it's really important. But bottom lane still might see an opportunity. They have good vision here. They've picked off the Invoker a couple times, but it won't be this time. But to expand on that, like, I actually just got to see a game that should not have been come back, but Elite Wolves played a game, was it yesterday or the day before, where they had an Agadem's Octarine Nature's Prophet. And neither the Juggernaut nor any of the other cores went for a Battle Fury or a Maelstrom or anything. And they just got absolutely destroyed by creeps alone. They had blink pistols and blink hexes and ways to kill heroes, but they actually just lost the game because they couldn't kill creeps. The Enchantress didn't want to build Mjolnir, Juggernaut didn't want to build Battle Fury. It didn't make any sense in my head, but it was just a disaster, a game that shouldn't have been lost. So it's good that right now, Enemy at least, BSJ, he knows what he needs to succeed, and the Battle Fury Mjolnir, it does a lot of work in this condition.
Question is whether or not efficient versus these solutions and such, but it also means he has not top tier items when he gets fully 6-slotted. Once he trades out that treads for what, Abyssal?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. You definitely want to get rid of the treads for the Abyssal Blade if you're not going MKB. Oh, Hex on Flying Zebra, looks like he'll be going down. BKB will pop, charges there. And
Yeah, he's getting away. This kick comes out, but they just can't get to him in time. And they just saw all 5 heroes up at that top lane, so that was bad.
But yeah, I actually think this Manta's still a liability. I would say that the Manta can be sold as well as the treads. Carry a Moon Shard for a little bit and then eat the Moon Shard and get a 6 item.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess for me about this whole thing is that I feel like EnemyGG are still on a timeline a bit, and once they get that next item on Juggernaut, they've reached a certain peak,
Sure.
and they do need to try and finish out the game.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, the Invoker sells his Vitus, gets 1, 2 more items. Where does he go from there? Like, his progression is stopped as soon as he gets the AoE Deafening Blast, which will actually be like 3 more levels, but I don't know. I'm quite surprised that the Midas Invoker is still struggling to get to that level at this point.
BSJ does get off his BKB in time. There is a charge coming out. BSJ is going to try and fight this one. He has the Omni Slash ready to go. They get a little bit of invis. Nusham is going to be the first to go down here. No pop over, but Jenkins couldn't manage to complete his TP out. So they get 3 out of that.
Wow.
They thought they were getting a pick on the Juggernaut, but he turns and fights with the rest of his team in hot pursuit. Now Leviathan are going to be forced into 2 different buybacks here.
I mean, that's like an Eternal Envy level bait. Like, the distance between NME and BSJ, their ability to reinforce that was almost non-existent. Like, they were so far away, but they get a couple BOTs in position, they get the charge across the map, and suddenly they're the ones jumping Leviathan rather than the other way around. It's a lot on the TL here.
The spin goes out, BSJ. He actually started TPing himself away. Sovereign's gonna go forward. Can they get the stun on the Peru? That would be big. No, Nusham interrupts it. Now Sovereign, he pops the BK. He can't stop the roar. Now Peru is dead. Enemy, they know they've got a full out retreat. They're gonna force out the immediate buyback on the Phantom Lancer. If they can get away, that would be huge. But Juggernaut ends up going down. Now they're turning around. The cast, Slayer, he's going for that Zeus. If they can get the kill on him and get out, that would be big, but it's not gonna happen. Nusham jumps in, kick, not in time. The Witch Doctor TP's out, but still, EnemyGG got so much out of that, and the pressure is all on Leviathan here to head right back in, push down EnemyGG's base, and force a buyback out of Juggernaut.
They have to get the Juggernaut buyback or they lose the game. 80 seconds on the clock. Juggernaut does not want to buy back. They gotta pressure as hard as they can, and then also they have to be able to manage the fight, because if you look, there's 4 buybacks on Enemy, and all 3 of them are core heroes. So even if you kill the Invoker, he could buy back. Beastmaster the same, and then obviously everything hinges on this Juggernaut buyback.
There's too many treants to deal with. Are running themselves at the range racks. Now that mid tier 3 tower is going to start being threatened. Peru has to back away from the ice wall and the EMP that was about to explode, but now that it's down, he'll feel confident enough to start chipping away at it. 50 seconds, but they're probably going to want to wait until the Spear Breaker's back up. 14 more seconds there, Tornado.
I don't even think the Juggernaut buyback is worth a lane of Brax. If they can give up mid and not have to buy back on the Juggernaut, they might just do that, because then they can go all in with DOTs. But Juggernaut's in, now it's going to be a retreat for Leviathan, or...
he's trying to ward off down the Omni-Slash! Peru's down! He's down for 2 minutes, and this could be the end of the game for Leviathan. They're going to lose 2 here at the very least. The rest of Leviathan will get out, but how are they going to be able to defend without their full 5? That's going to be a full 3 versus 5. EnemyGG, they know they can smell the bloodness in the water, and they're just going to end this game.
I mean, maybe Jenkins can sell his sheep stick and buy a refresher and use, I don't know, like, that's all you can do is just try to keep on using your ultimate, but like, they don't actually have any damage to deal with the cores. At this point in time, the death of the Phantom Lancer is the death of Leviathan.
Tier 3 tower. At the start, they actually had to charge back. They're trying to defend. Slayer actually ends up going down. That's a big pick off there for Jenkins, and Shibby evening out this game a bit more. He does have a buyback though, and
he's going to
Slayer
right in.
TP in.
As long as they can go for Throne here, then they can win it right here,
50
right now.
more seconds until the Phantom Lancer's back up. They have the Disruptor coming in. They now go for the Tier 4 tower, the Alacrity. Slayer's now joined the fight. Tornado. Ooh, blink away there from Shibby just in time. Positioning himself well in this fight, but will it really matter? The EMP zoning back some of these heroes. Flying Zebra actually gets an ultimate out, charges onto Shibby as well. The jump in from Nusham, and he tries to get some damage out from his ultimate. It's going to be decently successful, but the throne is being targeted down by BSJ with his BKB activated. They just don't seem to have enough damage in time. The spin to win is going to be enough. EnemyGG take game number 2, and we'll move on in the ESL One Manila qualifiers.
Some incredible pickoffs coming up from Enemy there. They were so backs against the wall from the beginning of this game. Leviathan were just dominating. They had more than a 10 kill advantage. They had a 3 tower advantage, including tier 2s, and they just were doing so much more across the map. But somehow from that, Enemy are just barely able to get their items back online. The Midas turns into an Agadam's BKB for Slayer.